Mobilization which has a beginning but no end. This is how the process of forced mobilization into the Russian army of residents of the occupied territories of Donetsk and Luhansk regions can be described. According to the General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine, military commissars are now especially actively looking for potential soldiers in certain areas of the Luhansk region.
In order to replenish the shortage of personnel of enemy units operating in the Severodonetsk direction, measures for forced mobilization have been strengthened in the temporarily occupied territory of the Luhansk region. In the city of Krasny Luch, the number of patrols has increased to check the documents of men, hand out summonses and take them to a collection point for mobilized men.
And in the self-proclaimed Donetsk People's Republic, mothers of full-time medical students are waiting for their sons to go home because they believe they were mobilized with violations. Women turned to all authorities of the Russian Federation for help, but they were refused everywhere. And they decided to appeal to Putin to return students from the front line.
Mistakenly mobilized full-time students interns have not been returned from the front line without training and uniforms. So far, since February, they are on the first lines of defense.
Russia admitted that since the beginning of partial mobilization, more than 3,000 students from the self-proclaimed Donetsk and Luhansk People's Republics have been called up. Deputy Minister of Science and Higher Education of Russia, Grigory Gurov, said that the students had already returned home. The conflict has been settled. Human rights activist Pavlo Lysansky says the actual number of demobilized students is much lower.
There may be 3 or 4% of these students, they were shown just for the picture. They were demobilized, and all the rest, they simply rewrote these applications of volunteers for a contract, according to the laws of the Russian Federation, and that's it. As for this case is one of many. There are still a lot of teachers who were forcibly mobilized.
According to Pavlo Lysansky, now the age of those forcibly mobilized from the temporarily occupied territories of the Donetsk and Luhansk regions has become much younger, and the process of mobilization in these regions has slowed down significantly.
There are no people there. People simply leave settlements. If in the first days of military aggression they could forcibly mobilize 900 people from Donetsk in a day, now it is 7-8 people maximum. If someone turns 18 tomorrow, he will definitely be mobilized. They will forcibly mobilize these young guys, who are 16 today, tomorrow will be 17 and then 18.
In the occupied Crimea, men began to receive summonses as soon as Putin announced partial mobilization. In the early days, more than 1,500 summonses were handed out only to the Crimean Tatars. There were cases when military commissariat officers handed out summonses in mosques during Friday prayers. Now, according to Tamila Tasheva, permanent representative of the President of Ukraine in Crimea, the number of anti-war protests among Crimeans has increased. More than 200 cases of administrative prosecution of those who are against war and mobilization have already been recorded.
We know about a lot of activists because we follow the court registers, we try to somehow track their fate, so there are really a lot of such people. And I'm often asked why such people appeared, why they were not there for 8 years, all the years of this occupation, because these people understand that now their rallies are really very important.
Human rights activists assure that the forced mobilization carried out by Russia in the temporarily occupied territories of Ukraine violates international humanitarian law, in particular Article 51 of the Geneva Convention. And now lawyers, human rights activists and law enforcement agencies are collecting evidence in order to further take it to the International Criminal Court in The Hague and bring all those responsible to justice. Reported by Roman Smoler, Natalia Belokudrya, UATV News.